Welcome back to Strictly Casual, everybody, for a very chillax episode, which is unlike the movie we are going to be talking about right now, which
Completely
is
opposite.
Men by Alex Garland. James, give me your thoughts on Men, just like a general overview of what you're kind of thinking about it.
Crazy experience.
Absolutely.
First of all, crazy experience. This is Alex Garland's first horror movie,
Unless you
right?
consider
I wouldn't call
no,
Annihilation
it was not a horror
or
movie.
Ex Machina horror movies.
No, I would say heavy
Thriller,
sci-fi, heavy sci-fi on both.
heavy sci-fi
Yeah.
on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't go sci-fi at all.
No, not really at all.
Straight horror.
Yeah.
First movie where I feel like, well, I guess he talks. So I'm talking. I was gonna say this is the first movie in which Alex Garland kind of talks about like cultural, societal issues.
I disagree.
Well, see, so I
Okay.
was thinking, was going back in my mind when because this is what made me hesitate.
Yeah.
Going back, I guess like AI might have been in the discussion
Yeah.
in Ex Machina. What were you thinking of?
I think Ex Machina goes way deeper than just a conversation about AI. I think it has like the main character, obviously I don't remember his name, but Dominic Gleeson plays him, or something Gleeson plays him, redhead guy, great dude, and then Oscar Isaac. These are like two very, these people are very flawed in the ways that they approach different situations and like use of control, not just over like AI and things that they've built, but things in their life, like how they control and perceive things in their own life. And like that's very much like a societal problem too that like I think Ex Machina deals with very well. On top, like I think the first thing you think of when you think of Ex Machina is like, oh my god, like this is how crazy AI gets. This is like when someone goes crazy about this or like way too into their like work, or this is like what happens when you like put your whole body into something basically. But there's so much more in Ex Machina, I think. But yeah, anyways, continue. You had a whole thought.
Well, I was gonna let's go back to that for a second more. Do you think that's even more like is the fact that the AI is a woman, or like do you think that plays into the themes? So because I'm trying to draw a sort of like string between the two of like if this is like men's relationships with women, is that like a common thread throughout Alex Garland's films?
I think it absolutely is,
particularly through Ex Machina. Maybe in a way in Annihilation that I'm not thinking of.
Totally. It has Oscar Isaac and Natalie Portman has a terrible relationship in Annihilation, and that absolutely, goes into the story of the movie.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, big part with like how the ending is kind of crazy, kind of wild.
Yeah. So with that being said, to get back to Men, right?
Yeah.
This is a sort of, I guess, like the most explicit or the epitomization of that like theme in a lot of ways, because the whole movie is about like toxic masculinity. But general like thoughts, I thought it was a really, so when we were texting about it in the group,
do you think it's toxic masculinity? Do you think that's the key of Men?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't wait to hear like, I want to hear like what exactly you thought, because I think I have a different interpretation, which is good, because Alex Garland specifically, he was asked about the ending of the movie and he said he will not answer because it will differ in interpretations between people.
Wow. Okay. The ending of the movie to me is still unclear, but
I got a thought about
it. I'm pretty damn set on the theme being like toxic masculinity. Okay. In terms of overall feelings about the movie, I was just like very wowed. Just it's typical Alex Garland in terms of like it's artistic. There's a lot of symbolism going on. It's it's so not overwhelming, yes, but I'd say like overstimulating.
Sure.
Like the music was incredible, and like it was just everything had so much gravitas.
Yeah.
Like in all of these scenes. One in particular that I'm thinking of is when it's like the altar type thing. Yeah. I don't know what it's specifically called to, but like it like kind of, it moves, and it's like it's kind of like there's lights are strobing around it, and it like it shows up in the room that the main character and her husband were fighting in, and she like approaches it. Yeah. It's like this movie is kind of like the reason why I love horror and why like I think the sort of things talked about in like horror movies are like can't be talked about in other like genres of film in the same way.
Okay. Yeah.
I just think it's like in terms of like visuals and motifs and symbolism and things like that, like there's a lot of creative freedom in what you can do because like you can kind of be as explicit or gory as you can kind of allow your mind to go to the deeper, darker
Yeah.
places and flush out those things because that kind of belongs in that genre.
Okay. Give me your interpretation of the ending. If you're unaware, like, I mean, if you're watching this video, you've seen the movie, you know what happens at the end or kind of how it goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's no explicit, this is what the movie means, which is great. This is why I love movies. It's like this discussion right here is what we're talking about. So how did you take the ending of the movie?
Okay, so the ending of the movie, and as it goes with all the themes, so the way what I interpreted was every sort of like man in the movie. So there's only one other female character, the lead, who is the cop, who
Riley
talks to her.
Not a cop. Oh, there's the cop.
She has Riley. Yes, yeah. Riley. Yeah, I'm talking about like in the vicinity of the village. Right. There's the cop and there's Riley. And I actually haven't given a thought to like.
I didn't think about that either.
The other women of the film and how they interact, but so I always forget what is her name.
Anyway, the main character is the main actress, but I don't remember her character name.
Okay, Jessie Buckley.
She's incredible. By the way,
she's great.
So good. Yeah.
So good, and I really enjoyed her character. I thought her character was really, really good. It is a horror movie that doesn't give into the hysterical woman trope of a lot of classical horror movies, but I think she like makes good decisions throughout the film. Besides the tunnel scene, that was like the one scene that I was like, I would get the fuck out of there. There's no way you would catch me going.
I mean, there's a couple things where I was like, why? Why'd you just do that? Why did you just do that? Specifically in the house near the end and just entering rooms that I just would not enter. I would just yeah, I don't know. But yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes in like horror movies, like that's kind of the instance, just like, why would you do that? But
right. I only had like one of those moments. It wasn't like an overabundance of those moments in this. Yeah.
Okay. But so every male character she encounters, I viewed as a sort of representation of a particular type of like toxic masculinity. So like for Jeffrey, that was sort of like the like knight in shining armor. Like I care about you to an extent, but like only while you're within my control, which is why when she tries to leave that and escape, Jeffrey like takes her car and tries to hit her with her own car.
Yeah.
To maintain that control. The cop, the main cop guy who appears at the bar is like the dismissive aspect of like toxic masculinity. Like I don't really like nothing you say really has any credibility to me. Because you're a woman. The kid is like the objectification. Like I view you as something like for my own enjoyment. Like I don't respect like your autonomy because like you exist to kind of like make me happy. And then the priest is a sort of like manipulative, like sort of lack of responsibility and casting all of his own sort of like flaws on her, like and talking about like the scene in the bathroom when he's like it's your fault that you're like tempting me or whatever, right, when that's something that's completely well within his own control. And so I think all of these personas that like make up James and his like and what made their relationship toxic and abusive.
That's so okay. I agree with you. I think that the going back to the like Jeffrey's like the guy that lets her in the house, shows her around. I believe that is like a sense of trust that James wanted.
Yes.
That is the trust that that he wanted her to have, right? We have the police officer, which is, you nailed that, the dismissal, almost ignorance, kind of like, not really.
Yeah,
it's like
selective ignorance.
Selective ignorance. There we go. Helpful when he wants to be helpful. Like when she goes outside and he doesn't say anything, and he's just standing there in the light.
We'll say like when it's convenient for him.
Yeah. It's convenient at the bar when he's having a good time. You know what I mean? Talking, chatting it out, but not convenient when he's outside of her house and there's a killer. Better kill her or something like that. You know what I mean? But I mean, obviously, in the aspect of James, that's different. Also, when we're talking about James, James is also her husband in the movie, not
right, not me.
Not James. I think the little boy, just like you said, is fun, but fun when he wants to have fun, which then leads,
and as long as that fun exists in his parameters of what fun is.
Yes, and that leads into the priest. I think the priest and the son thing are like very close, because I think not only is the priest manipulation and stuff, the priest is sex. Like it is the priest is very sexual in what he says, the way he touches her, things like that.
And on the thigh,
it's disgusting. The way he like touches the bench when she gets up and leaves.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds like kind of crass to say, but that's like that is what she is like seeing in, like, that fun leads to the, it's like manipulative towards the sex aspect of this, like as the priest. And so at the end, when each person births the next person, I believe it is that, like, at the very beginning, it is James, or not James, sorry. It is Jeffrey, which is the trust, is like the main thing that he wants. It's like the overarching, the trust thing, which then gives birth to, which one? I forget.
Oh shit. So it's like, it's the process.
Totally. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Now it is disgusting to watch in that, and so you're like focused on why the hell is this man giving
the CGI was great though.
It was very good. It was very good. It was gross, dude. It was pretty nasty.
It was really gross.
And I think the grossest one to me was when James came out of the guy's throat. Like that was nastier than all of them.
Yeah.
Or the first one. I was like, oh my god, what the hell is going on here? But I really think that it is those traits that lead into the next trait, and that's kind of where the birthing happens. And then by the end of it, like after like the third birth or whatever, like it's very clear that James is coming out of the last person. At a certain point, you're like, it's not like this is. It clicks. It clicks during the end there a little bit.
Well, it's also because of during that whole sequence in which these characters are all breaking into her house, there is that flashback to James's body, and you make the connection that this body is looking like James's mangled body.
And I didn't get that till the end, which was very smart. It's very smart. Like, oh yeah, that's definitely his hand ripped in the fence, or his broken foot that was like mangled to the side. Hey, but when that clicked, I was like, that's smart. Like, I should have seen that. I should have seen that. Like, that was good. So it's just, I don't know. What else do you think about the very end when he sits down?
Well, before we get to that, I want to speculate, because this is the one that stumps me, is who is the naked man?
Like, what is the naked man?
Yeah, what is the naked man? What does he represent?
The naked man's the one that gives birth to each of these things. So what is the naked man? I don't know.
And think about like the naked man as he progresses through the film. And like, I'm trying to make sense of how he doesn't like do a lot wrong.
He just wanders.
He just wanders.
He looks insane.
And through the progression of the film, it's this whole connection with nature.
Yeah, this is what I don't know about, because like in the chapel you have the little thing with the man that has like the leaf face, and the longer the movie
on the other side it's the woman.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's the woman. And then as the leaf man starts getting like more and more cut. You see him cut his forehead. He shoves the leaf down there, pats it up, and then at the end he has like even more branches at his head. It's like a new version of him or something, or like a new version of it. But I don't understand what that represents throughout the movie. I'm not quite sure. That one has not.
I'm curious if there's a nature versus nurture theme there in
Mhm.
regards to there is this duality on this pedestal or altar of one side is like perhaps it's maternal, like representing nurture. So it's
Mhm.
birthing, which is nurturing a child.
Yeah.
And on the other side is a sort of a nature as it is represented as nature man, I guess,
Yeah.
for like a better word.
Right.
Um, and I'm like curious to see or to speculate about like, okay, so is toxic these toxic as is he saying something about nature versus nurture and these toxic attributes in
Yeah,
men?
it's it because
Um,
do you remember the dandelion? Like the dandelion
yes.
is there's many
Oh,
shots at the beginning, like where the dandelion it's like a CG and the wind comes and the dandelion kind of disperses. It's one of the very
yes.
first things. She eats the apple. It's joked about the forbidden fruit. She's lost in the
Mhm.
forest. She sees like there's a lot of natural things in this
Yes,
movie.
there's a lot of shots of just like hills and
Yeah.
nature.
Also, I think the cinematography is very good in this film.
Very, very
It's
good.
pretty gorgeous. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but around the edges, just like we are on Discord right now, the edges were curved. So like it was the
Oh,
whole thing was like
interesting.
a curved rectangle. The whole movie it was interesting.
No, I had
Yeah,
no idea.
yeah, just a little like I don't know, made you look like you were looking into something rather than
Uh-huh.
yeah, it was almost like bubbled a little bit on the sides. Like it was
Interesting.
very interesting. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that either, but it was cool. Um, yeah,
But going back to nature versus
yes, sorry.
nurture, maybe,
Yeah,
what do you think about that theme?
I don't know because I don't know really what that
With the
could.
dandelion, like, because there is the moment when
Yeah,
that dude blows it and it goes into her mouth and
yeah,
she swallows it,
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's
representing a seed, which if we're following biblical themes, seed is often like sperm,
yeah, sure. Oh,
you
absolutely.
know, and like impregnating. I don't know.
There's questions I have about this that could help answer these questions that I could ask you. Like
Okay.
the things that I don't want to think about is like why did all these people look the same? Like I don't understand. Like obviously that's not what the movie was about. Like oh why are there all these
Uh-huh.
copies of those people? That's not the point of the movie or whatever. Why was she able to see the
Uh-huh.
police officer, not the dude police officer, but the girl police officer who she actually had a conversation with? Why was she really able to talk to him, even though the other police officer was also one of the copy characters and took down another copy character, which was the I don't know, the Leaf guy. Like I don't
The leaf guy, yeah.
it's not that it like doesn't play by its own rule. It's not that or anything. I just like I have questions about that. Like was it
Huh.
because she ate the apple and she's seeing this?
Oh,
Is it
huh.
because of this dandelion or like whatever she was like inhaling later on? Like
Sure.
and I know that's not important because it's really not important to the story at all. But like that to me, like I thought about it multiple times. Like they've really teased that she's like it's not. It's I know it's not, and it sounds stupid. It's not that she ate the apple and now she's like that poisons her
It's
or
kinda like a
something.
hallucinogen
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing?
right. And I don't think it's
Like,
that
the reality
because
of the situation?
yeah, like when her friend shows up at the end, there's blood everywhere. She's blood. It's not like she's making that up. Uh, I don't know. That was part is like, oh, I don't know what's going on here
Yeah, I
because it's not important at the end of the
that's
day.
right, and that's what, like, I keep just going back to is, like,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if this was like, he's made his point.
yeah. Or has he made his point, or did she make the point to herself? Like, what is that?
I'm talking about he is an Alex Garland.
Okay, sure. Alex Garland. Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot to take in from
So
this movie.
so what is the ending? When James sits down on the couch next to her and she says, "What do you want from me?"
Your
And he
love.
says, "Your love."
She has the axe in
Is
her
it
hand
sim
and she's
she
fingering the
has the
blade.
axe in his hand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And for me, the question is, okay, what does she do after that? The question for me is, what did he like? What does that phrase mean in the context of this movie? Is it that James's perception of love from the very beginning was flawed?
Absolutely. I think so. I think that is he would chalk up all those traits that we have just learned about inside of James as ways that he loves her. Having fun with her in his way, manipulating her in his way, sex his way, her trust, his trust, like that kind of thing. It's always that he thinks he's showing love to her, but it's his.
Right.
Yeah. I think that would be that. I know you can think about like, oh, did he kill her? Did she kill him afterwards or something like that? Doesn't matter. Who cares?
Right. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. The point's
Straight
there.
up. Yeah.
It's fascinating, dude. It's fascinating.
Do you think it matters that Riley is pregnant at the end?
I absolutely think that it matters. I just don't know what. Like, I saw it and I looked. I looked over. I was like, she's pregnant. She's pregnant. I'm like, but I don't know what that means either. But you're absolutely right. I forgot about that. She shows up and she's pregnant, straight up.
Yes.
It makes you feel a little
she's
nasty.
About to pop.
Yeah. What if her son looks like? Just kidding. I'm joking. It's not that kind of movie. It's not that. Even though it could be. It could be. Like, we're laughing about it, but there could be a deleted scene or something where that's the baby that pops out. But I don't think
a deleted
it's that kind
of scene.
There's just a lot to think about, man. There's a couple things gripe-wise with it. I don't think it was effective horror-wise. Sorry.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah.
Before we get to that.
Yeah.
There's a whole other thing within her character about where she talks to people and has a certain, like, gives them a certain perception. This is what I'm talking about. She tells Jeffrey she doesn't play the piano.
And she tells Riley she does.
And she just plays the piano. Like, we see her, like, going to fucking town on that piano.
Yeah. I didn't think about that either.
And I'm really like...
She lied to Jeffrey, but why?
Yeah.
False trust? Maybe the false trust that she might have. Because I think Jeffrey is like...
And I think the main character is... I think she's great. Like, I think she's a very emotional... I think she's a very intelligent character. Absolutely. Who's very, like, aware. Mm-hmm. And as someone who's socially intelligent, especially, like, going back to her conversation with James and being like, you can't, like, threaten me like that. Like, this is the reason why I want a divorce. Yeah. Like, all these things, like, you can't put that on me. That's not my fault. Like, it's not going to be on me that you kill yourself because that's your decision.
Yeah.
Going back, like, how it is knowing that she is very socially intelligent. Does she tell Jeffrey that she doesn't play piano as, like, a defense mechanism, as something like a self-preservation way, drawing a certain boundary? I don't know what that would be.
Right.
But
yeah, I don't know either. That's something to think about.
Maybe wanting to keep that relationship professional when it was obvious that Jeffrey wanted, like, that hospitality and that trust to be, like, closer to her. You know what I mean? And she's like, listen, like, I value you as a human being, but...
And that could go into the friendship type love that you would have towards your friend, where you do trust them and they're not expecting things in return, which might be a big part of, like, the whole James character, when all these traits are expecting something back to him. So maybe that's, like, a tidbit of information that, like, she would feel safe telling her friend, you know, and just maybe not safe telling another person. Or she would then expect Jeffrey to be like, oh, play me something, or, like, something like that. Like,
right.
I know that's kind of a stretch, but that's kind of where my mind goes with it, at least.
It doesn't feel like a stretch to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it fits, but
it's interesting, man. It was good. It was good.
So you don't think it was effective?
Horror-wise, I think message-wise it was effective.
Horror-wise, tell me more about what you mean by it's not scary.
It's not. It was disturbing. It was not scary.
Okay. In the same way that Midsommar is described as disturbing but not scary.
But Midsommar was scary to me. I know I'm a wimp when it comes to horror movies and stuff like that, but
sure.
Like, it was disturbing and scary. And I think it's even stronger message about toxic masculinity than Midsommar's stronger toxic masculinity than Men. Like, I think that's if not the biggest plot point of Midsommar. And I don't feel like this is the first time that I've seen a horror movie that deals with these messages in a slow burn type situation where they have like some sort of like mysterious thing. Obviously, Midsummer's a big one here, but like, I'm trying to think of other, like, it just didn't feel new at the end of the day.
Like it's not doing anything new for that conversation.
No. And here's the thing. I didn't have an expectation that this was going to have a big message or anything either. So I'm leaving very, like, happily surprised at this. This is much deeper than I initially expected it would be, which I should have expected because Alex Garland is absolutely known for that for every single one of his works. I shouldn't have expected, like, just
he's incredible.
Absolutely. I think he's so talented. Super, super talented. But I'm not, like, blown away by the movie by any means. Like, I'm not telling my friends, you got to go watch this. You have to go watch Men. It's worth the watch, absolutely, but you don't have to go watch it right now. Where do you fall on that?
I think it's hard for me to recommend Alex Garland movies to people because they are so like a certain flavor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like they're very slow burn movies.
Yeah,
And there are a lot of deeper themes in Alex Garland movies that not to be Mr. Gatekeeper James.
Sure.
But I feel like they have a high bar of accessibility to the average Joe.
Yeah, I would say Ex Machina would be the easiest introduction there. And then Annihilation seems like easy, and then it's the
heaviest.
It's a huge jump. Yeah.
Even above Men, yeah.
Because I would think that I understand Men more than I understand the ending of Annihilation. Maybe I have an idea of what Annihilation kind of like is trying to get at, but I would need a couple more rewatches too, stuff like that. It's just like, not to say like, oh, I would understand. That's not what I was going at. Like it's mandatory to like watch it a couple times to like fully grasp that.
Yeah. How many times have you seen Annihilation?
Once. I've not seen it a second
I've seen it twice.
Yeah.
And even then,
it's
still difficult.
But I'll be watching all of Alex Garland stuff. I'm very impressed. It's
only the 3 movies, isn't it?
And Devs, which is the Hulu show. It's like a 6-episode miniseries with Nick Offerman, who is in Parks and Rec. He plays a couple other people. Apparently, it is incredible.
I need to watch this.
Every single person I know that has seen this movie raves and raves and raves about this, and I have not watched it yet, but I will.
Yeah, I need to watch this. I will. Okay. Final thoughts on Men for me is, I think, while maybe it's not innovative in the way that it approaches the topic of discussion.
Yeah.
I think Alex Garland succeeds in the portrayal of this and in the way, I think it like the broad scope of toxic masculinity and identifying these 5 different attributes.
Yeah.
And epitomizing them in the relationship between her and James takes that. And I think does it maybe if not new, it is still effective.
Yes, absolutely. I would agree with that as well.
I think it's effective in that discussion.
Yeah.
Needless to say, am very excited to see what Alex Garland does next because I am just maybe the biggest Alex Garland dick rider.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't know what else to say, Finn.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. To me, it was like not an effective movie
as it exists to further something forward.
It wasn't inventive. Sure, it wasn't inventive. Whatever. But I don't need movies to be inventive to hit for me. And this did hit for me, but it's not like it was great. Like even.
Do you think it was visually inventive?
Yeah, I think it was. I think the difference between the very bright green lush area and the red orange cityscape apartment scenes
and the house
is like so good.
The house is dark red on the inside.
It is. That is true. I didn't really think about that too. All the hallways are dark red. Something to think about as well. Yeah, the color palette's probably really big in this too. Something I think about more. But I mean, obviously, the great part. There's still more questions I have about this movie. I do have more questions about the leaf green man, the pregnant Riley, and questions like that that I hope aren't explained by Alex at all.
Right.
I really do hope that I like have an urge to watch this again later, to be like, I do want to figure that out. Like I would like to watch this and try to further that. And that is the greatest compliment I can give this movie and all of his movies. Or I do want to watch them again. It's not, it's an experience. It's truly an experience.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. The conversation will continue, and I hope that you guys watching this have like different interpretations than us too, because I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
We had very similar interpretations, if not the same.
I'm glad.
Yeah, which is great. Yeah, fascinating stuff, man. Fascinating stuff. So good stuff. Well, I appreciate you guys popping in and listening to this quick little this chillaxed episode on a very unchillaxed movie. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Phenomenal. Guys, we'll see you next time.
Have a great one, everybody.
Thanks for watching.